All right, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Cantina Club. We're back this week to talk about episode 4 of The Acolyte on Disney Plus. And we just lost the snout. We just started and he bailed. That tells you what he thought of the episode.
The
He,
darkness.
he could only stand it for 30 seconds. But this week
My
we are going
journey
to
towards the
discuss
dark
our
side.
feelings and what we thought, our takeaways for episode 4 of The Acolyte. And
Going back.
who would like to jump in and start on this one?
I'll go first for once.
What you got?
I've been laying in the reeds, letting people talk first, and because nobody likes to hear me talk anyway. But thoughts about this episode. I'm going to start with the niceties. Okay, the sets, the props, the costumes. I thought were all pretty good. I started to finally get over the Sid and Marty Krofft feeling of Kelnaka's hut to where it looked. They showed a few shots, establishing shots of it. I thought it looked pretty decent. Although again, the Jedi seem to have this weakness of putting a skylight in every dwelling they have, so that somebody can just drift in from above and
come right in from
and do mischief. Yeah, right. They got to be too in touch with nature. That's their weakness. Even Yoda had a skylight, kind of. I mean, a side one.
Yeah.
In his hut, but who could fit in that? But anyway, I thought that when they weren't on a set, like there's obviously moments on the planet where they're on a set, a lot of it. But when they were doing establishing shots and certain things, those looked really good. Like there's one at the beginning with a bridge with a stream going under it, and I think May and is it Kuram or whatever his name is, the
Chimera, I think
Sith apprentice or Sith Lord or whatever he is. They're walking across that bridge. There's lots of establishing shots that look really good, and I always appreciate that in Star Wars when we're establishing planets, we're going on location and shooting. Like I said, costumes, the music. I'm always hung up on the music in Star Wars, listening to it, trying to feel it. I just still don't remember any music from this series hardly at all. It's sad to say, and I don't want to criticize anybody, but I just don't think it's been effective. So I guess I'm into negatives now. But I thought the little Jedi Council meeting wasn't as painful as it could have been. I'm so tired of Jedi meetings, and I thought, oh God, they're going to force us to have another meeting. But I thought that was okay. And I will say Soul's starting to look worse and worse to me as far as a character goes, because he in the first episode he's spying behind a tree on some kids, which is weird enough. And then in this episode, the Green Jedi lady is saying, "Why didn't you tell me? This or whatever." And I think what we're supposed to accept Soul as being a credible witness, a credible Jedi, kind of like the Obi-Wan, the Qui-Gon. We're supposed to just accept it, but the more things contradict what he said, the more we have to wonder about him, and the more less in control he looks. I don't think they meant that. I think we're supposed to take his word like there's no way anyone could survive that fall, and that's why he said originally she's dead. So it's the only way to explain it then is a mystery that we're going to get revealed. Why did May survive? But it also makes him seem like a very unreliable, uncredible witness, And he seems like he has his own motives at this point. He really does. So anyway, but for the rest of the episode, I was telling Corellian when I watched it, if we were little kids, like bed knobs and broomsticks type era, this would have been called Hike to Magic Wookiee Mountain.
Yeah. Hike to Wookiee Mountain.
Hike to Magic Wookiee Mountain, or Hike to Wookiee Mountain, yeah. And it would have had like a couple of kids looking up at the end of the mountain,
right.
The little beaver thing or gopher or whatever he was.
Oh, I've forgotten already. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what that thing was? Do you know where it came from? It's from Brian Daley's Han Solo novels.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the actual character, but it's the species.
Like a species.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten about that.
I know. I hated it. I hated it too. And then my friend told me, it came from the Han Solo novels. I'm like, oh well, but still, I can't.
It would have been awesome if they had hooked up with Kelnaka and he had been like skinny. He could have dry his belt and put it on his belt or whatever. That would have justified his existence. Or if he had gotten caught in a trap and his eyes were all bulging out, that would have been, he was killed. And people, I saw people are speculating he's the Sith Lord. Like, what's he doing?
Yeah,
Here?
I mean,
he disappears and the
was
Sith shows up.
absent. Yeah, he was absent whenever the Wookiee got killed.
I guess the thing is, like, why just write in a cute little alien part if you don't have more to do it? It's not really charming on it.
Yeah.
Like, you need to do a knockout out of the park character design, or have some reason for it to be there.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think it was just more of an annoying
And
thing.
the humor was lame.
The humor was lame. And why are the Jedi relying on a tracking beaver? You know, it's like, it just made them look stupid. And they're like, where'd that beaver get off to?
Yeah.
It's like he's probably building a dam, you know, somewhere in a river right now. That's what you guys get for relying on him. But yeah, and then I'll stop there so we can talk about our impressions right of the ending. But I thought the ending was very sudden. The whole episode was too short, even though it did touch base in several places. I also thought the character development again made no sense. The let's just say spoilers right now. The Wookiee is dead. Okay, the Wookiee is dead. He's got a big, what appears to be either curling iron accident or, which he doesn't seem to, you know, he does have the hairstyle going on, but some type of what do we call it? Some kind of a grooming accident or a lightsaber killed him. And so then I'm questioning, like, why send your acolyte to kill the Wookiee just to show up before her and kill the Wookiee? What? You know, how does that forward your goals of testing your acolyte? The only way it makes sense is if you were there for the conversation where she stupidly admitted she was going to betray everyone and kill the Jedi.
Yeah.
If you were there listening to that, then you'd rush ahead and kill the Wookiee as a warning to her, to say, like, you messed up, you know.
Yeah.
But so in other words, Kamir has to be the Sith Lord, or the Sith Lord was sitting there behind the tree, much like Sol likes to do. So we know Sol likes to hide behind trees, so maybe it's Sol.
Or how about this? The Sith Lord is maneuvered the whole thing not to create an acolyte out of May, but to bring the two girls together so the Sith Lord could have them. You see what I mean? So the Sith Lord got the Jedi to bring the two girls together.
There's been 6 years, though, since she quit the Jedi. And we can imagine that she didn't just yesterday join up with the Sith.
Yeah.
So why didn't he just do that? Why didn't he just go find her when she was a mechanic? Why not just go and say, hey,
he may not have fully known. I don't know. He may not have fully understood or known what they were.
I guess they could say that the mechanics don't register or whatever. Maybe they don't have licenses. Maybe people don't know where they are.
Yeah.
So maybe she effectively disappeared. That might be a way to bring her out. But also, why lie to your acolyte and say your sister's dead? And this is the whole crux of you getting revenge. So that when it's revealed,
anger and
but then when it's revealed she's alive, you know, the acolyte knows you're a liar and will turn against you.
I don't. Okay, hold on. All right, let me give you
and you send her to attack the people who know your sister's alive.
I don't know that May is actually the acolyte. I'm wondering if the Sith Lord isn't the acolyte.
Yeah,
and if this isn't, the Sith Lord may be an apprentice to another Darth, and the Sith Lord may be maneuvering things to get power that would allow them to destroy their master. So it may be that they really don't have any purpose in turning May or Osha into an apprentice. It may be that they're just using them. So I don't know. That's just an idea.
Because but it's like they've only shown us one design for the Sith that we know of with the saber, and that seemed to be the Smilo Ren guy. So you know, unless they're wearing the same mask, and because I would think that'd be a good theory for Kamir. I may be getting his name wrong, but is that he is actually the apprentice, and the master is using him. And he's manipulating May by saying, you know, hey, I helped you. You got to admit, I'm indispensable to you. I risked my life for you. And he said a lot of things to her in this episode that were manipulative. If he isn't sincere, he said, you failed so much. You know, putting the onus on her to prove him wrong.
And also, why? I mean, what is his motive anyway? He goes to that planet telling her that no other, even the best bounty hunters won't go there and go into that forest. Oh, but I'm going to do it for you. You know, what?
Makes no sense.
It's like, no, he's got to, that ought to tip her off immediately that he's got other motives, you know, that he's not what he claims to be.
Let's ask Corellian general thoughts on the episode.
Well,
save us, Gundark.
Oh, no.
You must have something good to say.
First of all, I wish I cared as much as the two of you appear to, because I am so far beyond caring about anything that happens
Right.
on this show at this point. I really am. And I'm trying
Yeah.
not to be just so negative, but the entire episode, I just sat there shaking my head. I thought, nothing is interesting. No characters are interesting to me. There's nothing that compels me to care what happens in this show or
Yeah.
the story. It's just, I'm so beyond just
Right.
completely tuned out. I'm just like, don't care. And you
And
remember
that's
too.
a shame, but it's also almost to be expected with how much stuff they've put out, that there would be things we just don't connect to and don't care
Yeah,
about.
and this is
So it's not a
so
huge tragedy, but when you look at what it's got going for it, potential Sith, evil,
Yeah,
Jedi at the
that's
height, we should be all into this,
yeah, that's what
and it's
disappoints
terrible.
me. It has all kinds of potential that it's not using. It just remains mediocre,
Yeah. So
The
other than not caring, Corellian, do you have anything else to say about it? It's just not. It would be. I mean, seriously, do you have any thoughts or critical thoughts or
Well, I
thoughts
mean,
that you can say, hey, this was done well or this was done,
again, I'm not buying. I will say one good thing is I didn't get that whole, they're filming on the volume vibe for this episode.
Yeah, right.
Like a lot of times you get that weird outline kind of thing still around the kids, like, oh, they're just standing in front of a green screen or something,
Yeah.
that look. So I was happy about that. It did look like they were using a lot more practical sets this episode. But again, the sets themselves, I just don't find that interesting. Not to say that they're as bad as Land of the Lost. Clearly, we're being exaggerating when we say that. But they don't look great to me. So
Yeah.
to me, just the pacing of the episode was just dragging. I didn't care what they were talking about. I didn't care about the conversations. I thought I
Yeah.
found the Jedi to be annoying and whiny, and I don't know. I did,
What
and
did you think of the
that rodent
character
beaver
turn?
character, I couldn't care less. I saw this is just a complete swing and a miss at trying to make a quirky, cute character that just failed miserably.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
all
this is
right.
yeah,
Don't
exactly.
gotta
I mean,
worry
at least
about me.
Caddyshack got it
To
right.
start dancing to that. Bill Murray is the Sith Lord. But no,
Yeah.
what did you think of the character turn of May? Like all of a sudden, she's like, I don't want
Oh
to do this
God.
anymore. I'm going to turn myself into the Jedi. Obviously, they don't have capital punishment, right, for murder
Right.
in the galaxy right now. She's
Yeah,
going to call a lawyer first.
I don't know. Like I said, I guess I'm just so, and keep in mind, since the first two episodes, which as we covered, I watched multiple times. Just
Mhm.
to not necessarily because I liked it so much, but at least I wanted to make sure I watched it, see what I felt about it. These last two episodes, I cannot make myself watch more than the one time. I
Yeah.
watch it the one time, like, yeah, I'm good. That is 30 minutes of my life
Yeah.
I'll never get back. And I'm never gonna go back and watch that again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm like super negative right now about this. I'm not very constructive, and I apologize. So
That's all right.
I'm just completely disappointed.
We've always
And
been
I just
honest.
feel like Star Wars
Let's
right
be
now is in
honest.
such a state. All this stuff they keep putting out is just so bad. I'm just so not
Yeah.
interested. And and it's not helping the fact that we're right in the middle of the premiere of season 2 of House of the Dragon,
Yeah.
where I just
Yeah.
got through rewatching season 1. I'm like, wow, actual quality show
Yeah.
that's on television. That's the first
Yeah.
time I've seen that in a couple of years on any station.
Right.
It's like, and so it just to me makes it even more glaringly bad. So it's like,
Yeah.
well, good writing, good acting, good sets versus this.
Yeah. But you
So,
can't have the Jedi hire thugs to go in and get the twins and they accidentally cut one of the twins' heads off. And they're you can't have
maybe
Saul
not,
and
but you can hire
Master
writers who actually know
Vendraka
how to
or whatever
write.
having sex on the Jedi table. You know what I mean? On the Jedi
Yeah.
hologram table.
But you can
You
hire
can't do
writers
that
who know how
stuff.
to write a good story
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's apples and oranges in a lot of ways
in some
because
ways. But when you
you
boil it down to
cannot
good
go there.
storytelling, it's the same thing.
No, it is. It
Yeah.
is. If for someone the stakes are super high, they're super high. It doesn't matter whether it's life, death,
Yeah.
whatever it is. You got to make us believe the characters are in this for high stakes. When they're evil and they're the acolyte and they go, I don't even want to do this anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They
I'm
don't
not
even have
feeling
any
this anymore.
stakes. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go turn myself in. Who cares?
Right. Who cares? It's
Yeah.
like, and the mama rises up the ghost like, am I nothing to you?
Didn't
But
Vader do that in Empire?
yes.
At one point, he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'm not feeling this. I'm just gonna go turn
Yeah.
myself into the rebellion."
Yeah, that was weird. It's just the only thing that's keeping me is the mystery of trying to figure out Soul and the Sith stuff. I mean, that's still interesting enough to me that I'm speculating on it, but I'm not like eagerly looking forward to episodes like I normally would, with Star Wars shows. It's almost like I forgot there was gonna be one on Tuesday
Well, I
night,
did
you know.
forget.
And
I completely forgot. It was Wednesday afternoon. I was like, "Oh wait, I think the Acolyte was last night." I
yeah.
never even crossed my
So
mind that
is
there was
is
a
that
new
your kind
episode.
of general thoughts, Gundark, that it's just sort of bland, or
Yes, and this episode I actually thought was worse at first when I first saw it was worse than all the others because the pacing was so slow. It had the stupid lame humor with the beaver, whatever that thing was. and,
right?
and
Whatever that
no,
thing
it was just,
was.
and then like you said, May suddenly flipping, to I'm gonna turn myself in was just like, why? Because you had to run hard through the forest, it seemed like, why did you suddenly make
Right.
this decision? So I don't know. It seemed it it dragged, but it also felt rushed. It felt like there wasn't enough content that made sense and that added substance to the story in the 30-minute episode. But I did find some things interesting about it, like when I really still am intrigued by Soul. I like you, Greedo. I'm really questioning his motives a lot more now. And I mean, he came out and told Osha at the end that he had not been forthright with her.
He said we need to confront our past.
Yeah, once I didn't bring you here to confront May, he said I brought you here to confront your past. And once we get May aboard the ship, I'll explain everything, And so it's like, oh great, there's Obi-Wan Kenobi like deception going on here, and maybe he thinks it's justified in some way, but there's so much that happens that makes his judgment seem questionable to me. And like
It is questionable. That's why it seems that way.
It's like there's that one weird moment though that like when that they were going through the forest and the flying roly poly attacked or whatever, and he just killed it. It was like, and then that there was a weird conversation between Osha and Soul's Padawan after that, Jackie. That was so weird that I wrote it down. That I felt that was kind of harsh. That why didn't he just like wave it away with the force or something?
Yeah.
It was just an insect. Yeah. And so it has this conversation.
They use the power of many.
It's like I wrote it down. Osha said she was sad because she could sense the creature for the first time. She's finally sensing things again, which was weird. They mentioned that multiple times. Like when she's getting closer to her sister, it's almost like their powers uniting or something like that. She said, I could sense the creature. I disturbed it. Now it's dead. And then Jackie says this. It's always an honor to get to witness anything or anyone transform into the Force. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like when you have to murder it or kill it, it's often an honor to kill.
It's so great to see it return to the Force.
Yeah, I know. And it was almost like Jackie was saying the things she's been taught to say, by Soul or whatever. And then she backtracked and said, although you've had more experience of death than I have. And then Osha said, I could never accept death as a true Jedi should. And which is interesting because there's that whole thing about think about Darth Plagueis, wanting to get beyond death, and these girls created in a way that people suddenly have a power to create life that it would not through natural procreation. So it seemed like it was kind of working into that. But it was just that whole thing about it's always an honor to witness.
Well, I would think that applies towards nature and the natural course of things, not you viciously pulling out your saber and chopping it in half.
Yeah. That to me was the episode in a nutshell. The way I saw that scene, there was, no reason for it to happen. There was no anxiety. There was no tension in that scene.
There was no tension.
It was just this thing that crawled off a tree, flew up, came back, and he just pulled out his lightsaber. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
what just happened? It's like, is it because we have gone so long without seeing someone use a lightsaber in anger? I mean, I don't,
I think
it's
if
like,
anything,
why?
it was trying to set up some type of other side to his character. And maybe I'm giving it too much credit. I don't know.
I thought it
But
was weird he jumped in the way when he's got 7 other Jedi and
yeah,
apprentices
I
that are
mean,
perfectly capable. Why does
Yeah.
he feel he has to control every situation that comes up?
yeah, it was the whole thing. I'm really disturbed by him. And he also wasn't forthright with Osha when he got her to go with him. Because he pretended like he cared about her at first. And then whenever she said, "Oh, you want me to rejoin the Jedi Order?" It's like, no, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, I didn't say that.
And she's like, "Oh, you need me to get my sister." And he
See,
Right,
finally
like,
had to admit
you're
it.
just one
using me,
thought
yeah.
off the top of my head, one thought that you could use to make Saul's character stronger as we know him. Okay, like you said, if you're introducing a violent side to him because he's the Sith Master, then whatever, But how does he manage to maintain this facade so long if he jumps to violence so quickly? But what if this thing came at him and he used the trick we've already seen him use, where he holds up his hand and it stops and comes down to him, and then he communes with it for a second. It goes back calmly and gets back on
Yeah.
its tree.
Mm-hmm.
So he's erased its mind, like the alarm in its mind. Go back, to sleep or wherever you were before. That's way more consistent with his character that we've seen so far than pulling out a saber and saying, "I got this. I haven't chopped anything in half in a long time." Jedi bug zapper or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, and you got 8 Jedi there. It's like if a couple of them seem like if they just joined hands and did a force push,
Yeah,
that's all it would have taken. And I agree, Greedo, I agree with your assessment from a couple of episodes ago that I really don't think Saul is going to survive this.
I know, and either way, he's not going to. Yeah.
No.
He's not. Yeah, whether he's good or bad,
He's
he's
good or
not
bad,
going to
he's
survive
not
this
gonna
show. I
survive.
don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. But I could see a scenario where he could be the Sith Master. I don't think it's consistent with everything that's happened so far, but honestly, I'm not invested enough to go back and pull out the abacus and figure out every single scene. Were they there? Were they not there? It's very, very suspicious that he came running up and tried to rescue the twins in the the burning brick building, the burning stone building.
Burning stones.
It's very suspicious that he did that. And also, one of his students said, "I see a fire. It's growing. It's consuming everything. It cannot be stopped." Okay, that's all enough for today.
Okay, that's all for today.
He's standing right in front of the student. It's like, "Oh, she's seeing my real side. Stop. Alarm, alarm." But they've put so many red herrings at this point that I'm getting very frustrated with the mystery, because I understand the impulse to try to hold the mystery to the end, to try to fool everybody. But a mystery is only a legit mystery in my mind if you obey the rules of the mystery, which is give us consistent clues. A red herring can be a red herring. It's fine if you can explain it, but you don't put 100 of them. You don't just murky the waters, and you put the clues out there where, with your available knowledge, you can put it together and solve the mystery yourself. And I don't feel like that's really happening. I feel like they're falling back on some mysticism about the nature of the twins. I still don't understand why you have twins in the show at all. I think it's a good point you made that Osha was getting stronger when she got closer to May. I was thinking there's something about May's death that they keep hammering the fact that she died. She did die. So I think she did die. I think she fell in that pit and did die. There's something about that ceremony and the fact that May was the one that was invested with the powers that said, "After my death, you will pursue my goals," or whatever. And some force went into her, that they didn't get around to doing to the second girl yet.
Yeah.
And so I think she's linked to that tree, almost like a video game. Like every time you get killed in the video game, you have a respawn point. Where
you respawn by the tree.
Right. They showed her looking out. I don't know how her clothes survived the burning and all that, but I think probably neither one of them can die unless both of them die. Because they keep saying, "You give me, I give you," or whatever. So I think their life force is linked. They're not a dyad. They're something else. They're a linked energy single being in two, where as long as one is alive, the other can regenerate or be brought back or whatever by whatever mysterious freaking power. Now maybe that tree is some kind of Jedi Bendu type thing, like the Jedi Bendu was like sometimes look like a big rock formation, I think, or something, right?
In Rebels,
Yeah, so maybe the tree is a character, but I think everything's getting way too complicated. Like if you pull out 100 plot points to explain the mystery in the last episode, it's to be like, might as well just watch the last episode. You know, why watch the
yeah.
mystery? Because it's not compelling. It just isn't. I'm compelled because I get it's like a crossword. I want to solve it.
Yeah,
But
that's how
I feel
I
like I
feel.
feel like they're cheating. I do feel manipulated. I feel like they're cheating, and I don't think there's enough here to solve it with conviction. You know,
Yeah,
but I still not past the Indara thing. I think there's every possibility the master could be
yeah,
Indara. The
yeah.
master could be their mother. The master. I would have thought the green skin lady. That was my first pick, but there's been footage of her with a force whip or something in one
But
of the
she's
trailers.
also I was discussing this with my friend who knows more about the novels than I do, and she said from the High Republic novels that Jedi Master Vernestra was a good character repeatedly
Right.
in those. So she thought, because I was suspicious of her at the beginning whenever she was telling Saul to shut this down, be discreet. Does it come? We gotta come have a meeting, whenever he was going to act. I thought she was trying to cover up something, but
That does
now I
argue
don't.
against it, but when she in this episode she was looking very stern, and I thought she could play an evil character pretty easily, you know, as far as the anger and the sternness and the eyes. You know, her eyes, she could narrow her eyes and look pretty evil. Soul just seems pretty hapless. I don't know that I'd buy him as evil. But of course he did a good job in other stuff he's been in. But what was I gonna say? The okay, it's the elephant in the room that everybody seems obsessed with on the internet is Kiadi Mundi. And I'm going to be honest, I just don't care.
Yeah, I don't care
don't
either.
care. Maybe
Couldn't care
Kiadi Mundi's
less.
got a terrible memory. You know, maybe stuff goes and levels up his brain head and exits out the top, and he doesn't keep the old knowledge. You know,
But
he has to make room for new.
did they confirm that was the character, like in the
Yes.
credits or something?
Yeah, that's him.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
him.
Yeah,
Okay.
the writer actually was on X or whatever, and people were asking him straight out, "Hey, was that Coyote Monday?" He's like, "Yes, it was Coyote Monday."
It wasn't Silas Carson though, was it? Playing him, or was it?
I don't
Right,
think
no?
so. No, I don't believe it
Because
was
he'd be
Silas
older
Carson.
now.
No.
But yeah, it's supposed to be him, and people are just. I mean, there's outrage.
Well, it's just dumb.
He seems to contradict himself.
It's just dumb. I mean, I don't get the over the top outrage, but it's at the same time, it's still stupid that you take a character that's established to not have been born for 40 years from now, and suddenly he's just alive and a full-on adult on the council.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, let's just make this stuff up
why
as we
him?
go along.
Why does it have to be
Yeah,
him?
why?
Yeah, why did it have to be Coyote Monday? Yeah.
Master Fivehead.
And did you notice Plo Koon was there too?
I didn't notice Plo Koon.
Yeah, he's only in the background, but you can see him standing there for a couple of scenes.
Yeah, if they thought that was going to be like a charming shout out to prequel fans, it's totally backfired. There's a lot of them very angry.
If they thought this show was going to be charming, that's totally backfired.
Now I will say I did not find this episode offensive or anything. It's just boring.
Yeah, exactly. It was boring. It was the whole thing is it's just mediocre. It's just not.
There's not a story here we're telling so far.
What's troubling me is that I can't quite put my finger on why I feel it's so mediocre. I mean,
there's no tension. There's no tension.
It's almost
whatsoever.
like it's trying to be in between, like it's trying to be old school charming Star Wars while trying to be something serious and dark, and it's just not melding.
It's not melding at all. No, I agree.
They would have been way better off going with a dark.
Just go to dark. Yeah.
If I even said that this show for me was lukewarm right now, that would be a compliment, because it's not.
Nice
you
pun,
know,
though.
It's just cold for me.
It's every time I say it feels forced. But it does. The whole thing feels forced.
It does. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
No, it's not compelling. It's like Mando at its worst. Let's walk across here and collect a point and walk back and turn in the point, walk back.
I was gonna say it's like video game writing.
It's video game writing, and the characters don't have any more depth than that. I will say I was rewatching the episode with the power of many and all that. And I will say one thing, okay? Because I am a hypocrite. I'm sure people could point out all kinds of times I'm a hypocrite. You guys have, but I don't think of myself that way. I was saying that with a hero character or protagonist, you should have a clear point of view of what they want, unless you're doing existentialism of some kind, right? where they're just a hapless, like from Hitchhiker's Guide or something. Yeah. But I will say for this show, they did have the young Osha come out and say, "I want to be a Jedi" to her mom.
Yeah.
She did not say why.
Right.
But I don't know that we necessarily, now the why would have been better because Luke said, I want to go with you to Alderaan, learn the ways of the Force, become a Jedi like my father.
Right,
He had a
that's the
lot
why.
more, he had a sentence, a paragraph. This girl had a sentence, I want to be a Jedi. Now I can imagine that her goals were in that book. Like she'd heard some story about the Jedi. I don't know where she heard it from these witches, but
Yeah.
it's almost like the Jedi drop paraphernalia on the planets before they go.
Yeah, they drop leaflets.
They drop leaflets.
Like the Bene Gesserit.
Right.
They prepare the way.
I saw a really funny comment on the witch scene online where it said, kid, I want Bene Gesserit, mom, we got great value Bene Gesserit at home.
Great value, Bene. Great value.
And it said Bene Gesserit, great value Bene Gesserit at home.
Yeah, that actually reminds me of another good one I saw on some review. Okay, tell me again, who's the character who we think may be the apprentice to the Dark Sith Lord?
Kamir,
yeah, somebody referred to him who was not using character names, just calling people by various random things. He kept referring to him as great value Ezra Miller.
There you go. No, I think the more hapless that guy, the more like a fop he plays himself, the more suspicious he becomes.
The more suspicious
it is.
Really. He's somebody
like
serious.
She sets a trap in the middle of the woods and he walks right into it.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you said, Gundark, he's capable of going into the impenetrable forest and coming out unharmed. And he faced down. Why didn't the Jedi arrest him when he sold poison?
Yeah,
exactly.
Because
he immediately made oh, we'll let you go with a warning if you just help us.
Where is justice in this galaxy?
Right.
No wonder people want a change.
Right. And if it is true that this is going to turn out to be that he is working with the Dark Lord, and he's more sinister than he appears, it's almost like they're trying to give a payoff to that whole theory of the Jar Jar the Dark Lord, and all this kind of stuff. It's like, oh, he wasn't really that bumbling and idiot, he was just fooling everybody because he was really controlling everything behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But it was just so excessive, though. It was poor writing. It was like just pointing out every way in which he's got to be something that he's not saying he is. It's just like, this is stupid.
Yeah, I know.
Well, at least it's consistent.
Yeah, consistently bad.
It was either like a horrible red herring or it was just so over the top pointed out what he is. It's just like, it wasn't.
You guys can cut this part out if you want to. I don't care. I'm going to say something. I've been reading a lot of stuff from people defending the show, and I partially defend the show as it's just a watchable distraction for me. It's a Star Wars setting. I don't look at it as breaking canon because I can just dismiss it, honestly. Yeah. I don't, they decide to use some characters I know. To me, it's not the same thing. If I don't accept it, I don't have to. It doesn't offend me, really. It's just a wasted opportunity to me. But people defending this and saying, just enjoy Star Wars. I just see that over and over again. Just enjoy Star Wars. It's all good. Just enjoy it. Not really.
I want good Star Wars.
Yeah. What's wrong with wanting it to be better? Right. And we're kind of shaking our heads. We might be a little mean, but we're really not eviscerating it.
Oh no, we're nothing like 99% of the critics out there.
No, we're just disappointed. And this is a show that when they just showed the graphic art for it, the title, The Acolyte, and it looked dark. That was the one I was looking at going, this could be cool finally, because this is what I want to see is a perspective of the villains. We've had the villains have like 2 lines.
Yeah.
I've learned nothing about them at all. So I don't know.
See, I'm wondering too if it hasn't shot itself in the foot with the idea of the Acolyte. If it's like being too clever and making a twist on the title, but making you think that it was going to be something about a young acolyte, and you think it's May, but it's actually
kind of like the Mandalorian,
an acolyte. It's actually it's the acolyte of the Dark Lord that doesn't show up until halfway through the series.
We noticed a lot of times the Mandalorian episode titles had a double meaning.
Yeah,
a double, triple meaning sometimes, and this is the same thing. I think you're right.
Yeah.
What is an acolyte, and who qualifies? And there's probably going to end up being a couple of different characters that you can.
Right.
But I think the mystery is getting tiresome at this point.
Yeah.
And I also, what do you guys think? Is there going to be a big dust up brawl next episode, or do you think this is just going to be a wah, wah, like the dust will settle and Osha and the Sith are gone.
Yeah,
Right.
I
That's
think
actually
that,
what I'm thinking
yeah,
is going to
that's
happen.
what
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Maybe.
Kilnaka knew something.
Yeah.
What
Kilnaka
about
knew something. Now
May?
he's dead.
Will May join with the Jedi, or will the Sith take both Osha and May?
She'll be like a prisoner, but a prisoner just under custody.
Yeah.
She'll be
Yeah.
working with them, but
To
under
try to
custody.
save
Yeah.
Osha. Yeah.
Because there's a
Right.
connection between them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's something that hasn't been fulfilled. Maybe it was the Ascension ceremony. There's a way to make sense that this character may not even be a Sith who's a master. It could be a master witch, you know,
Yeah.
trying to save the witch coven because they're all
Well,
dead.
my friend that I was talking about with this, she also noted, like, I think Greedo noted when we discussed the episode where the flashback to what happened to May and Osha when they were kids, that in the group of witches that were dead, the body of Mother Coral wasn't there. The
Right,
one that's
right.
like Darth Maul, whatever the species Darth Maul is.
Even
And
her name, you know.
yeah, and so we wondered if maybe that could be the person that is behind the mask.
I see again,
So
it's constructed in a way where it's a red herring or it's
yeah,
true. We've got
yeah.
100 of them. It seems like, you
That's
know.
the
Yeah.
problem. We got way too
So
many.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, and in this, I still don't understand the twins thing. They keep hammering it like, you know, May did die.
Yeah.
If Soul is to be believed, if Soul cannot be believed, then all bets are off. But why construct a show where the most believable character can't be relied on for
Yeah.
his point of view, for what he saw? You know what I mean? He's the one seen peeking around the tree. He's seeing the shit from the beginning. So he has to be a reliable witness, or this whole thing completely unravels and it's pointless. It's not a mystery anymore. It's just a what we choose to show you, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Gimmick show. It's a gimmick at that point.
Yeah.
So, and I can't stand that. I
No.
personally hate that.
Well, let me ask you this. What about now that we've seen what seems to be a Sith Lord or something? Who do you think it is? Is it some Sith Lord that we know? Is it like Darth Plagueis?
But before we answer that, that's a good question. I want to ask you guys, what did you think of the Sith entrance?
I
Had any
liked it
impact on you at
floating
all, or-
down. I did like that was probably the best moment in the episode where it floats down out of focus in the background. And
Yeah,
then
that
one
was
of the
well shot,
Jedi,
yeah.
they're all looking at it and they're like, and one of them
I love
says,
the line,
what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What is
Because it
that
almost
was
looked like a
it.
bat. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
it was almost like they were seeing a Sith. Well, they're all seeing a Sith for the first time, I guess.
Yeah.
It's what been hundreds of years since there was Sith war between
And they
the
saw
Sith
that
and the
Mothra
Jedi.
creature that looked kind of had a similar effect coming down from the tree.
Yeah,
So that, but and I did like the fact that was my favorite scene, but it still didn't feel like it was shot quite right. Like something about the cinematography or something felt more TV than movie to me.
yeah,
And
Mhm.
but I liked the fact that Soul sensed it first because he's the
Yeah.
most experienced Jedi there, and he started to turn. And I didn't necessarily like the fact that all the Jedi drew their weapons at once because again, the force is for knowledge and defense, never for attack. So what are you doing?
Also, what were they doing letting Osha just stand there?
Yeah, I know.
You know,
Nobody said
why
got
not
me.
in there and yell out
Not
to her,
one of them
Osha,
said, "Hey,
run!"
get away
That would have
from
been the
it."
perfect
Yeah.
chance for May to say, "Oh, shut behind you," you know, because
Yeah.
she's watching from the hut. But is she really in the hut? That's another thing. Like they never see each other.
Mm.
Yeah,
So what is all when you go to points of view? Is she really there? Is she a real character? Is she in the same existence
Yeah.
that they
Yeah,
are?
the
We
only
don't
time
even
that
still
they
don't
have
know.
technically seen each other, no one was there to witness it.
Right.
yeah,
Is
Yeah.
she a deception of some kind, or is it a
Right.
force thing or a force die of some kind? But yeah, that I thought that was alternately parts cool and then also kind of hokey. But also I noted that of course the Sith guy tossed her aside so she
Mhm.
Yeah.
wouldn't get hurt.
yeah,
Yeah.
And so then I'm thinking, and then he blows up I'm thinking, I bet you anything this episode's gonna start and they're gonna be gone. He's gonna grab Osha.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 He's
And
gonna,
then we're gonna learn like this is why you should be mad, you know, and probably the Sith's gonna tell the perspective of what happened.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I did like if whenever you messaged me images of the Sith before watching this episode, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's silly. I thought the mask was okay. I actually liked it. I liked how at first I was struck by how it was like the Knights of Ren. You know, it looked like Kylo Ren's mask when it had been reconstructed. But if you look at it closely, it looks like it's got a lot of scars from battle on it.
Yeah.
And I begin to wonder, okay, is this like a Darth Darth, like a lord that has had multiple apprentices that have tried to kill him, and that's what all those scars, those marks are from. I began wondering, like, what is the, why is he all scarred up?
Also, the other way to look at this is if the Sith, what was supposed to be shocking about it is we're not supposed to expect the Sith. This could be one reason why they put Ki-Adi-Mundi in there is because, like, there's no way the Sith could reveal themselves and Key's there, and then he would say that later. So this would put the tension on the fact that none of these Jedi are going to leave this planet.
Yeah.
And if they do, they can't talk about what happened. So another reason to think that the Sith Master is a Jedi, because that would be a shame to them,
Yeah.
But
well, they already made the point that Bernestra said, we can't reveal this to the High Council. The scandal would be too great. It would go to the Senate, and we need to take care of this on our own. So
what is the Senate going to cut their funding? I mean, what are they afraid of? It's like there's a Jedi powers bill coming through next week.
Jedi power bill.
Yeah, we need those billion credits. So we can't possibly take the cut there. They could give it to orphans, the ones who are scooping up everywhere. But I was going to say the Sith entrance reminded me of a ripoff, and I probably shouldn't say ripoff, but it reminded me of Alien. The scene with Brett and the alien is first revealed and it came down behind him and then rose up. Only it just Alien so blows them away. That's why I kind of almost wish they had done it even more mysterious. Like if the Sith had somehow been like almost like a transformer or something, like huddled down in itself, and then it expanded when it got behind her to become huge. I kind of not, you shouldn't size matters not, but the Sith seems a little small to me to be that.
Yeah, it was, and that made me wonder again. We talked about body types before. Is it female? Is it Khmer? Yeah, because he's smaller. It was just the perfect body type. So who is the actor who's behind there?
And they have a black robe draped over the front, so that could disguise certain gender, things, or it could just be their.
One thing, did you notice, this just struck me and I had to rewind it and look at it again. The hands are ungloved.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
That,
Very
that
strange.
Really, like, why do we see their hands?
Yeah. So, and he looks black, so were they burned? Could this be someone who survived the fire?
Yeah.
Could it be Mother Coral then?
Yeah. And see, this is the only interesting thing about the show.
I didn't even think about that, Gundark.
And Mother Coral was one of the mothers, so she could be coming to collect her daughters,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
what's the old "I am your father" twist?
Yeah.
I am one of your mothers.
And she wanted to, she was the one who wanted to kill the Jedi outright. She was like, what about
right? Yeah, she was the one that was promotion.
Yeah, who's gonna miss poor Jedi?
Right. Right.
Soul never told you what happened to your mother.
Your mothers.
He told me enough. No, May Osha. Which one are you again? Are you Osha? Are you May?
But one other question. Is that creature the Dark Lord? Is it a Sith Lord, or is it the Acolyte? Yeah.
It's a powerful Acolyte, if it's an Acolyte. I mean, the Force push was mighty.
Now, could it be, I know we're talking about timeline, like Plagueis would be too young or something, but wouldn't Plagueis be an apprentice around this time? Plagueis wouldn't be a lord yet.
Not according to everything we know, but see, that's all considered legends.
Oh, okay.
So they have no qualm about rewriting that. Only what's on screen, it's what people can't get over is. And I understand because we spent time and money, reading all the books.
For decades, it was the official story, and now suddenly,
but it's not. It's
they
never
just say, "Well, no, it's not. It's just an idea."
Even under Lucas, it wasn't.
But you make the best point about that, Greedo. Lucas couldn't care less about anything that doesn't happen on screen.
No, he cares. He wants what's not under his direct control, as far as him creating it. The books were under his control. He could have said, "No, don't publish that one."
Right.
I think. But he let people do what they wanted as long as it was within the guidelines,
Well, then could this be Darth Plagueis as an acolyte to Darth Tenebrous or Darth? Is that how you say the name? Tenebrous or Tenebrous or whatever?
If it was
the
Darth
master of Plagueis?
Tenebrous is what I was saying. Yeah.
If it was Darth Plagueis and they did an awesome reveal and they got an awesome actor to play Plagueis, and it made sense, like why the acolytes aren't dying, because he's bringing them back. He can protect the ones he loves from dying. Um, wouldn't it be amazing to watch the 180? Are the fans that have been bashing on it? It's not, whoa, if you're gonna do just Plagueis, you've destroyed Plagueis, and they make Plagueis all badass, and everybody be like,
Yeah.
Plagueis was really
crap.
good. Well, see, okay, I was aggravated when I was texting y'all when the show was beginning. I'm like, where the hell is Darth Plagueis? I want to see Darth Plagueis. I thought this was about Darth Plagueis. And now, and now that it might actually be about Darth Plagueis, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
It's been so mediocre.
He could be the beaver.
It could be.
It could be the beaver.
It's been so mediocre that I don't.
Plagueis lore,
but the thing, but kind of another point I want to make too is like to what Greedo said. Even if you get a great actor to portray, Darth Plagueis, unless you're going to completely change everything, he would have to be a costume character.
Right.
He's a monk.
He's
not even a human. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Benedict Cumberbatch is Darth Plagueis.
Great value, Darth Plagueis.
Yeah. Now if they got like Ian McKellen or somebody like that, that would be freaking cool.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
All right, do we want to do our ratings?
Oh, I did want to say one more quick thing. The scene, I did like the scene where they were training the apprentices in the kendo.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool, but I thought that would have been a great opportunity to put Nick Gilliard in there in a costume role, in an actual named costume role as the swordmaster or whatever. So I don't know why nobody ever uses him. They need him.
Oh, I know. And he is still around. I just saw a recent interview with him.
He was at a con recently, which I think in England or somewhere. It's like, I would love to meet him. And yeah, that would seem like the perfect, nothing against the guy they did use, but if you really want to win people over and provide some cool continuity and stuff, I don't know, it just would have been a cool thing to do. But
yeah.
I also didn't make high or low of his instructions. Like, what did he say? Make it subtle yet small, or whatever. It's like, isn't that the same thing?
Yeah, it's like the
focused
same thing.
But subtle. It's like, huh? We're swinging a lightsaber around. You want focused and subtle? But okay, anyway. So ratings.
Who wants to rate first this week?
I'm gonna wait on y'all because I'm totally
Greedo,
don't know what to
do.
Gundark. Again, I'm going to say this every week, and it shouldn't be this way because every episode should stand alone. But this is so weak on its knees that it's going to need to rally. And if it rallies, then some of this is justified. But I don't think you can justify making a 28 freaking minute episode here. And it just feels like a cheat. And a lot of the stuff didn't make sense in this. And if it does make sense, it's not great. So I'm gonna go a 3.5 here, which is the lowest I've ever given anything Star Wars. I think. Just because it's mediocre. It really is.
Yeah,
I agree. All right.
Doesn't mean it's worthless. It's just mediocre.
For me, obviously last week I gave it the lowest rating I've ever given anything was a 1, and the only thing that prevented me from giving this episode a 1, I'm giving it a 2. The only reason I didn't give this a 1 is because they didn't have interpretive dance this time.
Right. Yeah, you think I need to flip my ratings because the interpretive dance is going to go down as one of the all-time most memorable for the wrong reasons moments.
Yes, for all the wrong reasons. Yeah.
No,
but at least that's a reason to remember it. This didn't have anything memorable in it.
Yeah, that's what I felt that way too, Greedo. I was like, when I first watched it, it was like it's going down for me rather than up, despite the fact there's no interpretive dance should be bringing it up. But I thought it was a 3 at first, and I think watching it again and then talking about it, I give it a 3.5 because I did like the Sith, whatever that Sith thing was, and I still am intrigued by the mystery, although worried that it's not panning out and it's not fitting together right. And I'm intrigued by the character of Soul still, and I want to know what the deal is between
the actor deserves so much better.
Yes, he does.
I mean, this guy could have been an iconic character in Star Wars, like a home run, and the first, as far he's the first Korean, playing a Jedi and all that, and I mean, bringing together a lot of traditions and stuff, and just being cool, you know, being a great actor with a great part. I was so looking forward. Once I saw he was casting it, that was the only thing. I mean, my expectations went up a lot, just hoping to enjoy it because I've enjoyed everything he's done, you know. And it'd be like Donnie Yen or something, you know. I was a huge Donnie Yen fan before Rogue One, and I was like, wow, what a home run, you know, to cast this guy. And what a lot of people don't know is he can act.
Yeah.
You know, he's not just a martial artist. He's had enough time in front of the camera and stuff that he can act also. So anyway, I still think he's one of the more, for a non-fleshed out character, I think he's one of the most memorable characters from that movie. And that's why I keep descending in this, because I'm getting less interested in the characters instead of more. They're killing them off every episode, and we still know nothing about them. Like, we got no moment of any kind of connection with Kelnaka, except that he's a Wookiee. Therefore, we trust him because he's a Wookiee, because of his race. But we got nothing except a couple of little subtle hints. No moment of him rescuing or showing that he valued life. Nothing showing why, you know, and all this is going to be like shoved on us at the end.
Yeah.
And it's too late. It's like, you don't kill him off before you explain why you should regret him being killed off. You know, you give us a reason to want him around, then you kill him off.
That was a point that Corellian made at the very beginning of the series. Corellian was that was the thing that aggravated you at the very beginning, is that you got a Jedi Master who's supposed to be a main character just suddenly dead, and we're supposed to care about it.
Someone who's a selling point for the show. And within 5 minutes they're gone. Yeah.
But see, that one time I can understand it, to establish, hey, this is high stakes. It's a well-known actor that you were looking forward to, and so you're disappointed, but you're also going like, whoa, I guess anyone can die in this, which is different than Star Wars. But they just didn't deliver on the promise of that. And I never took the antagonist seriously. Even it's just like a plot point, she killed her. It didn't make any sense. And like I said, she followed it up by sparing the bartender and showing no ruthlessness. And she felt regret the minute she killed her. She was like, oh, I didn't expect that to work. You know what I mean? So I already know this character is going to be redeemed, or set up to be redeemed, because there's no other reason to play it that way. So I just don't buy into her as a villain. I need a villain, you know. It's like, I've got a villain with one line so far about the Jedi living in a dream, and that's it.
Yep.
You know. When are they going to give us somebody to love to hate?
I don't know. We've been saying that for 2 years.
A long time.
Asking for that for 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah, and you know, Moff Gideon, I think, is the closest we've come. He was a very good villain, but but he was a little sabotaged by some poor planning. By poor art.
Agreed.
Okay, so anyway, we're still here.
Yeah.
We may lose Corellian next week.
No, I'm gonna watch it to the end. I'm not just gonna stop watching
it. What if you start to load it, it says 2 hours? I'd be like, oh my God, no.
Like, well, I know what I'd be doing for the next 4 nights.
But it has 4 episodes. It has 4 episodes left. What are they gonna do with 4 episodes?
It better be a 2-hour fight. It better be a 2-hour fight at this point.
What?
I'd be like, I'm solving the mystery by killing everybody, and then if the killings stop, we know we got this in.
Maybe we're building up to a giant Jedi all hands on deck meeting.
All hands on deck podcast.
And then they'll show a little hologram of all the ones that let's mark him off and him off.
He's gone.
Yeah. Like, can't play those characters anymore.
So that wraps it up for episode 4 of the Acolyte. Again, let us know what you think in the comments.
Our discussion was twice as long as the episode.
If you're sticking it out, or if you're giving up more like myself.
Let's see, there's 1 over there, there's 2 down there, and there's many. So we get twice as long.
All right, thanks guys. Thanks for watching and liking and subscribing, supporting the channel and all that good stuff. We will see you next week. Yeah.
Approve. Okay.
It's not even asking me.
I was distracted.
Do I have to approve it? It's not even asking. I'm just the dot.
It doesn't matter what you do.
You're
the power of the dot.
You're just recorded regardless.
How dare you? Don't you know I'm Manny? Don't you know my power?
You are one snout, Greedo.
Yeah. How'd you like to be two? It's like I thought I was going somewhere at two, and now but I was trumped by Minnie. I'll never have a chance of getting Minnie.
It's not Minnie, it's Manny.
Manny.
I went back and watched that again just to see if I had any misconceptions about it. It was poorly shot because they shot it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, because it exists. Yeah.